The materials you'll need for this cardigan: any 4-weight yarn. I'm going to be using 100% acrylic big twist yarn. It's a 4-weight yarn and it's in the color magenta. Next, you'll need a 6mm crochet hook and a 5.5mm crochet hook. You'll need ribbon. This is velvet ribbon and it's around 40 inches long. You'll need stitch markers, scissors, a darning needle, and measuring tape. So here's the original cardigan. It consists of 5 different panels that you're going to sew together. So you have these 2 front panels, a back panel, and 2 of the sleeves that you're just going to sew up and attach to the body of the cardigan. This cardigan is a 3-row repeat cardigan for all the panels, so it's going to be 1 row of double crochet, another row of double crochet, and then 1 row of this mesh. This can be adjusted to your size. The size that I make it in this tutorial is going to be around a size small or an extra small. The foundation chain of any of these panels needs to be an odd number. An even number foundation row, it just won't work. I just wanted to start off by kind of explaining things, so let's get right into it. So using your 6mm hook, you're going to chain 73. I have 73 chains. We're going to skip the first 2 chains, and into the 3rd chain we're going to do 1 double crochet. And we're just going to do again 1 double crochet in each chain all the way across. By the end of row 1, you should have 71 stitches. We're going to chain 2, and we're going to turn our work. The chain 2 does not count in this pattern as a double crochet. Now into the first stitch, we're just going to do 1 double crochet and repeat what we were doing on the first row, which is 1 double crochet into every stitch now. We're going to do 1 last double crochet into that last stitch. For row 2, we should have 71 stitches. Now for row 3, we're going to do the chain 2, flip our work. Into that first stitch, I'm going to do 1 double crochet. To create the fillet or the mesh, I'm going to chain 1, skip a stitch, and into that next stitch I'm going to do 1 double crochet. Again, I'm going to chain 1, skip a stitch, and into the next stitch 1 double crochet. Chain 1, skip a stitch, into the next stitch 1 double crochet. And as you can see, it's creating our little mesh pattern here. So we're just going to continue that all the way down. So when you're almost at the end, this is how it should be looking. And here I have 4 stitches left. I already did 1 double crochet, so I'm going to chain 1, skip a stitch, into that next stitch, 1 double crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, and into that last stitch I'm going to do my final double crochet for the row. So with the chains included, it should be 71 stitches. This is going to be your 3-row repeat for the entire cardigan. It's just going to be 1 row of double crochet, another row of double crochet, and then 1 row of this like fillet or mesh pattern. And then we're going to start again. A row of double crochets, another row of double crochets, and another row of the mesh. Now I'm going to show you how you're going to be dealing with these chain spaces once you get to them in the next row. So I'm going to chain 2, flip my work, yarn over 1 double crochet into the first stitch right here. Now when you get to this chain space, you're just going to be working into that chain space. So you're going to yarn over, and then you're going to go into that chain space and complete your double crochet. And then into that stitch, 1 double crochet, yarn over, one double crochet. We're going to be repeating this all the way down. So we're just going to be repeating this 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet mesh, and then 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet mesh all the way up, and we're going to be doing that from your first row to your last row. You should have 38 rows altogether. Here I am at my last row. As you can see, this is how it worked up. The height of it is 20 inches, around 20 inches, and the length of it is 21 inches long. Here I am, I have 3 stitches left, so I'm going to finish them with you. This is it for the back panel. If you're going to sew the panels together, you can leave a long tail. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to chain 1 and leave a long tail for sewing the 2 panels together. So we're just going to be doing the same pattern that we've been doing for the back panel for the 2 front panels that we're going to do. And you're going to have a little bit of a gap in between. If you want to make ribbing or whatever, there's going to be a little bit of a gap, and we're going to start our first panel. So we're just going to have 2 panels at the end, and then we're going to sew it all together. So you're going to start with a slip knot again, and this time you're going to chain 35. Now that we have 35 chains, I'm going to basically do exactly the same thing that I was doing for the back panel. We're going to skip the first 2 chains, and into that 3rd chain we're going to do 1 double crochet. And we're going to repeat that all the way down, so 1 double crochet in every chain all the way down. 1 double crochet and your last. For row 2, we're just going to basically do the same thing that we did for the back panel. So we're going to chain 2 again, flip our work. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And again, 1 double crochet in every stitch all the way down. At the end of row 2, you should have 35 stitches. We're going to chain 2, turn our work and work our mesh pattern. So yarn over into that first stitch. We're going to do 1 double crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, chain 1, skip a stitch into that next stitch, 1 double crochet, and we're going to repeat this all the way down to the end of the row. We have our 3-row repeat pattern, and we're just going to repeat the same thing that we did in rows 1 through 3 until we reach our 31st row. And I'm going to meet you there to show you how to start the decreases for the neckline. I'm almost done here with the 31st row, so I'm going to go into this stitch, this chain space, the next one. So this chain space counts as a stitch, and this last one obviously is a stitch, and we're going to do our decrease, our double crochet decrease, okay? So we're going to yarn over, go into that chain space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then we're not going to finish the double crochet, we're just going to yarn over again and go into that last stitch. We're going to yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then you're going to have 3 loops on your hook, and you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, and that's a double crochet decrease. So we're going to chain 2 again, and we're going to do another decrease. So we're going to yarn over into that first stitch, yarn over, pull through. Now you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Now you have 2, you're not going to finish your double crochet, you're going to yarn over, pull through. Now you have 4 loops on your hook, you're going to yarn over, pull through 2. Now you have 3 loops, and you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. And that's going to be your double crochet decrease. For the rest of this row, you're just going to be doing 1 double crochet into every stitch all the way across. At the end of row 32, you should have 31 stitches. We're going to chain 2, turn our work. We're going to work our mesh pattern, except we're going to reach 4 stitches, and then after that we're not going to be working into these 4 stitches. So I will do this row with you. Now that we have 4 stitches remaining, we are not going to be working into these last 4 stitches. Instead, we're just going to chain 2. We're going to turn our work. And then we're going to decrease. We're going to yarn over into that first stitch, go in, pull up a loop, pull through 2 loops. Into this chain space, you're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2 loops. Now you have 3. Going to pull through all 3 loops. And then you're just going to continue as usual one double crochet into every stitch and chain space. At the end of row 34, you should have 26 stitches. We're going to chain 2 again, turn our work, and we're going to do one double crochet in each stitch all the way across, and then at the very end we're going to be doing one decrease. I've worked 24 stitches and I'm at my last 2, and I'm going to be doing a decrease. I'm going to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, go into that last stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Now I have 3, yarn over, pull through all 3. At the end of this row, you should have 25 stitches. Now we're going to chain 2, and this row is going to be our fillet, except we're not going to be doing a decrease this row. So the usual mesh pattern, we're just going to do it for row 36. As you can see, we already have the neckline coming together here. We should have 25 stitches for row 36 because there was no decrease that row. Again, we're going to chain 2, and for row 37 we are going to do one decrease when we reach the end here. But it's going to be the same as usual, so we're going to be doing one double crochet into every stitch and chain space. And we're going to continue all the way down until we reach these last 2, this chain space and this last double crochet stitch right here. At the end of row 37, we have this chain space and this stitch left, and we're going to be working a decrease. So we're going to yarn over into that chain space, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over again into that stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through all 3. This is how it's coming along. For row 37, you should have 24 stitches. We're going to chain 2, and this is going to be our last row. We're going to chain 2, and we're going to be doing our last decrease. So we're going to yarn over into that stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through all 3. Then we're going to be doing one double crochet into every stitch across as usual, and that's going to be it for row 38. You're gonna fasten off when you reach the end. This was our last row. I ended my row on a whole double crochet row. You should have 23 stitches. You can already see the neckline coming together here. So I'm just going to chain one and fasten off. And when you're done with this panel, you're just going to want to repeat what you did for this all over again for your second panel. And then I'll show you how to make the sleeves. I already did one sleeve and I just wanted to show you how we're going to be working it. We're going to be working from the bottom all the way to the top. When you fold it like this, it's going to look something like this, and this is going to be where the cuff, this bunched up area, and here is going to be where you will be attaching it to the cardigan. I worked this sleeve from the bottom all the way to the top. We are going to be doing that same 3-row repeat. If you're a size extra small or a small, you want the sleeve when it's folded to measure exactly 7 inches. So here we have 7 inches. I'm just going to start by showing you how I started this sleeve. We're going to do a slip knot and we're going to chain 53. Now that we have 53 chains, we are going to be working our first row. We're going to skip the first 2 chains, and into the 3rd chain from the hook, we're going to do 1 double crochet. And we're going to be doing 1 double crochet into every chain across. So just for time's sake, we're going to be doing the same pattern for 35 rows. So you're just going to keep doing it for 35 rows, the same exact thing that you've been doing for the panels and for the back panel. And I will meet you for row 36 and 37 where we're going to be doing the cuff. It's a series of single crochet decreases. So I'm going to meet you at the end of row 35 so I can show you what I did for rows 36 and 37. Okay, so here I am at my 35th row. I'm going to do these last few stitches with you for row 35, and then I'm going to show you how to do the single crochet decrease for your last 2 rows. For your last 2 stitches and into our last stitch. Okay, so you should have 51 stitches at the end of your last row. Now you're going to chain 1 and turn your work for row 36. And then we're going to start our decreases. So this entire row is going to be decreases. We're going to do single crochet decreases. We're going to go into the first stitch, pull up a loop, into the next stitch, pull up a loop. You should have 3 loops on your hook, and then you're going to pull through all 3. And you're just going to repeat that. So you're going to pull up a loop, and then again into the next stitch, pull up another loop, and then yarn over and pull through all the way down 1 stitch, the next stitch, and you're going to pull through all 3. You can see it's kind of starting to bunch up, and that's what you want. So we're going to continue this all the way down. And I'm going to show you what you're going to do when you reach the end, because we're going to have 1 stitch left over, and I'm going to show you what you're going to do with that 1 last stitch. And this is going to be our last decrease. You're supposed to have 1 last stitch here, so it's fine. and you're just going to do 1 single crochet into that last stitch. At the end of this row, you should have 26 stitches. Chain 1, turn your work. For row 37, which is our last row, you are going to be again doing single crochet decreases in every stitch across. So it's that first stitch, second stitch, then you're going to pull through all 3. Here are our last 2 remaining stitches, and we're going to do our last decrease. At the end of row 37, you should have 13 stitches. So from here, we're just going to chain 1 and fasten off. I'm going to be sewing my work together. I'm going to leave a long tail. Then we're going to fold this in half. Next, I'm going to use my stitch markers to hold the fold that I've made in place so that it's easier for me to sew. I'll just go through the end of the row here, and then I'll go through the end of this row, and I'll just pull through. Okay, so here I have my 2 panels and my back panel, and I'm going to have the wrong sides face out towards me and the right sides face in. I left a long tail at the side, and I'm going to now sew these 2 panels to the back panel. So I'm going to show you how to do that. If you already know, then you can just skip this part. But I'm going to use these stitch markers to hold everything in place and make sure that everything is even while I'm sewing everything together. So I went ahead and clipped them together, and you just want to make sure that they're even. I'm going to go through both of the loops like this, and then both of the loops on the other side. Just pull through, and then again through both and pull through. So you just want to continue doing this until you reach the end, and then you're going to secure it by tying it off and then moving on to your next panel right here and repeating the same thing all over again. So I'm gonna do this until I reach the end here, and then I'm gonna show you how to secure and tie it off. So I'm at my second to last stitch here. And this is our last one right here. I'm going to just put it through again. I'm just going to stick your needle in and tie it. And then one more time. Just to make sure it's nice and secure. Now you're going to do the same thing that you did here on this side, and then we will start to attach this panel together on the bottom. Now that I'm finished sewing these together and weaving in the ends, I'm going to grab my measuring tape and my sleeve. So here we have our sleeve. We can see that it is exactly 7 inches. So likewise, you want to make sure that you mark that 7-inch on your panel. So it's easier when you're like sewing everything up where you can tell where that 7 inches is, so you don't sew like all the way up. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side, and we're just going to sew now. I have my stitch markers in place, and now I'm going to use a needle. I'm going to go through the bottom here and then the very bottom over here, and I'm going to secure it. Then again through the same place, and I'm going to tie it this time. So I just pick up whatever I see as long as it's even, and I will go through it like this. And then once I get to my stitch marker, I just take it out. And you just want to continue this until you're 7 inches from the top. I've reached my stitch marker here, so I'm just going to bring in my sleeve. Then you're going to grab your stitch markers. Just grab a little bit of the sleeve and a little bit of the body, and you're just going to clip them together so that as you're sewing, it's easier to keep things even, or at least that's what I like to do. If you don't like to do this, or if you just want to sew however you want to, that's okay too, but I just like to do this just to make sure that everything is in place. We're going to take the long tail that's attached to our sleeve and use our darning needle. So I'm just going to go through both of these loops and both of the loops on the other side, and I'm going to attach it and sew it together. I'm going to go through 2 loops here, 2 loops here. So you're just going to continue on up like this and the other side. When you reach the other side, you're just going to clip it again and sew down and just fasten off like how I've been showing you. You tie a knot at the end. I'll meet you when you're done attaching both sleeves to the body, and I'll show you how to do the trim or the edging when you get to the end and how to attach the ribbon to the collar. This is what it's looking like so far. Now that we're done with the cardigan, I'm going to show you how to do the trim. It's basically going to be single crochets. So we're going to grab our 5.5mm hook and some yarn, the same yarn that we used for the cardigan. I'm going to start at one of the bottom corners here. And you want to turn your work right side out. So now we're just going to be working right side out. The right side should be facing you. I'm going to turn my cardigan like this. So we're going to make a slip knot, grab the bottom corner of our cardigan, put our hook through, we're going to chain one, next you're going to work 3 single crochets into that corner space. I'm going to use a stitch marker so that I know which was my first stitch. So from here onward, we're just going to put a single crochet into each space that we see. So right here, there's a space. Then there's this little space right here. Another space. So when we reach these mesh stitches here, we're going to do 2 single crochets. So there's a little gap right here, so 1 single crochet. There's another one here. Another one here. You're going to basically be repeating that all throughout the edge or the trim. You can do this, you can do like ribbing if you want, it's up to you. However, I will say that when you reach this corner, you're going to do the same thing that you did when you first started. You're going to do 3 single crochets into the corner here, and then you're going to continue and do just a single crochet into every available spot that you see, and that's it. Then when you come around into the first single crochet that we did, you're just going to do a slip stitch, and then you're going to fasten off. Now that your cardigan is done, I'm going to show you how to attach the ribbon to the top of your cardigan. So here I have velvet ribbon that's left over for Christmas. It's around 39 inches. What you're going to do is grab your ribbon. I'm going to go through the space that's closest to the edge right here, and I'm going to put the ribbon with the velvet part facing me through this gap and then through the other side. And then you're just going to make sure that it's even. Then you're just going to go ahead and tie a simple knot. Okay, now that you have your knot, you're going to notice that you have ribbon going down here and ribbon going up. So you're going to take the ribbon at the bottom and you're going to make a loop. Like this. And then you have this ribbon and you're going to take it and put it over the loop. So you're going to go around the loop like this. Then you're going to take that same ribbon and go under this part right here. Let me zoom in. You're going to go through this part then you're going to grab the other loop right here and you're going to pull tight. Okay, so there you go. And that's all. If you want to add more ribbon, if you want to add ribbon from the top here, you can. I just wanted the neckline to show, so I kept it like directly below it, but it's up to you. Let me know if you like this tutorial and let me know if it was helpful. Subscribe if you want to see more. I'm working on a couple of other tutorials right now. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!